There is a comet heading to Earth, but the people did not see it as a threat. However, a few special individuals have been selected for a shelter program.
It's loud, Dad. What is it?
Hello?
This is a presidential alert. It is not a test.
On the day of impact, this happened.
4, 3, 2, 1.
And impact.
We are still waiting for the first images in the Atlantic Ocean.
What was that?
Earlier footage.
And that was just a small fraction of the comets. The real one will hit in 48 hours. Welcome back to Flick Recap. Please, do not forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video. At the start of the movie, we see construction work taking place on a high-rise building. Two men are engaged in a conversation about project delays, with the boss, John, clearly frustrated by the setbacks. Shortly after, John is shown driving while listening to a radio broadcast about a comet, named Clark, that is set to pass close to Earth. He soon arrives at a suburban neighborhood and hesitates before entering a house. Inside, he finds his wife, Ally, exercising on a treadmill. Their interaction is somewhat strained as they discuss their son, Nathan, and his upcoming birthday party. Nathan soon appears, excited to see his father. Later on, in his room, the boy proudly shows John a drawing of Clark, the comet. As they talk, it's revealed that Nathan is diabetic. Their conversation then shifts to John's separation from Ally, and Nathan expresses his desire to see them back together as a family. Later, the family sits in the living room watching a news update on the comet, which is described as moving rapidly toward Earth with a trail of icy fragments following it. That evening, John is seen settling into a guest room, which suggests that he's only temporarily back in the house. The following morning, he listens to another news update about Clark. Reports suggest that fragments of the comet may enter Earth's atmosphere, but the general tone is reassuring. While cleaning the grill in preparation for Nathan's birthday party, Ally asks John to go to the store for a few items for the party. He takes Nathan along for the trip to the store. As they arrive at the store, they see shoppers being distracted by the comet, which is now visible in the sky. While browsing the store, John's phone buzzes with a presidential alert, followed by an automated call. The message informs him that he, Ally, and Nathan have been selected for emergency shelter relocation. Noticing that no one else in the store received the same alert, John quickly decides to leave with Nathan. On the drive home, John passes military convoys and aircraft heading in the opposite direction, and this further deepens his concern. Upon arriving home, the party is already in full swing with friends and neighbors gathered in their sitting room. So, John gently pulls Ally aside in the kitchen and asks if she received the same alert. She dismisses his concerns, assuming it was a routine test, but John explains the military activity he had witnessed while returning. Now, a little worried, they rejoin the others in the living room, where everyone is watching the news. The TV shows an image of a fragment of the comet expected to crash harmlessly into the Atlantic Ocean. As the countdown to impact begins, the mood remains lighthearted. However, instead of the anticipated splash, there's a brief quiet, followed by tremors. John steps outside, noticing birds fleeing in panic, when suddenly a massive shockwave strikes. It is felt both outside and inside the house, leaving everyone terrified. The news then confirms that a fragment has struck Florida, causing catastrophic destruction. Aerial footage reveals the devastation, and questions start to arise about whether more pieces will strike Earth. At the moment, John receives another presidential alert. This time, the message is broadcast on both his phone and the TV, revealing to everyone that John and his immediate family have been selected for shelter. The message strictly forbids him from bringing anyone else. Immediately, everyone starts to panic and John and Ally start to pack. Their main concern is ensuring they have enough insulin for Nathan. While packing, Nathan asks about his grandfather, and this further adds to their emotional stress over the situation. Meanwhile, the news continues to deliver alarming updates as Ally prepares food for their journey. As they prepare to leave, Nathan notices the sky glowing red, and this further emphasizes the urgency of their situation. Now outside, their neighbors who didn't receive the same alert are visibly worried. As they start their journey, one neighbor approaches the family, pleading with them to take her daughter along. John reluctantly refuses, knowing the government's strict rules could result in the girl being turned away at the shelter. This refusal sparks a tense argument between John and Ally as they drive away. As they continue, scenes of societal breakdown unfold. Looters have begun ransacking stores, and desperation is evident everywhere. News reports reveal that a colossal fragment of the comet, called the Planet Killer, is expected to strike Earth in 2 days. With their time running out, the family must navigate this escalating chaos and figure out how to secure their survival amidst a collapsing world. While driving, John and his family come across a massive traffic jam on the highway. Determined not to lose time, John turns onto a side road. The radio buzzes with more alarming updates. More comet impacts have occurred, and some could wipe out entire cities or even cause an extinction-level calamity. They eventually reach an airbase tightly guarded by military personnel. There, they find desperate crowds surrounding the entrance as they are barred from entry. Using the barcode they had received, John and his family push through and are allowed inside. At the check-in, they are issued wristbands for identification and told to rearrange their belongings into a single bag. It's then they realize Nathan's insulin is missing. When they asked Nathan, he told John that he had taken a blanket from the bag during the drive, meaning the insulin must be in the car. John quickly hurries back to retrieve it while Ally seeks help from the soldiers, and she mentions Nathan's diabetic state. This news creates a problem. They are taken to an office where a superior officer explains that those with chronic medical conditions, such as diabetes, are not allowed on the evacuation planes. Despite Ally's pleas, she and Nathan are escorted out of the base. Meanwhile, John, unaware of what's happening, retrieves the insulin and makes his way to the planes. He boards one, only to discover from another passenger that Nathan's condition would disqualify him from the evacuation. Now panicked, John demands to leave the plane just before the doors are closed. However, before he can disembark, chaos erupts as the base is breached by armed civilians, who opened fire on the military. One of the planes, including the one John was on, develops a fuel leak. In the ensuing madness, John escapes moments before a massive explosion sets off a chain reaction, leaving destruction in its wake. After learning from a soldier that Ally and Nathan have already been turned away, John searches for them and finds a message on the car from Ally stating she's taking Nathan to her father's house. As they walk away, Nathan begins to feel unwell. Fortunately, Ally finds a pharmacy and discovers that Nathan's blood levels are very high. Then searching inside the store, she manages to find insulin. However, a gang bursts into the store, shooting and killing indiscriminately. Ally and Nathan narrowly escape from the store when a kind member of the gang allows them to leave. Outside, they hitchhiked a ride with another family. At first, their new companion seemed helpful, but their attitude changed alarmingly fast. The couple turns on Ally, throwing her out of the car, stealing her wristband, and abducting Nathan. They intend to board the plane and escape with Nathan. Left stranded on the side of the highway, Ally is devastated. In the meantime, John secures a ride with a group heading north. During the trip, he bonds with a man named Colin, who explains that Canada is a potential safe zone, with planes ferrying people to military shelters in Greenland. Colin encourages John to reunite with his family and join him there. However, one of the passengers notices John's wristband and demands he hand it over. When John declines his approach, a violent fight breaks out, causing the truck to swerve off the road and crash. In the chaos, John manages to kill his attacker. Unfortunately, Colin tragically dies in the crash. Elsewhere, Ally hitches another ride toward the airbase, following the couple who had taken Nathan. Meanwhile, the couple had reached the military base. However, as they reach a checkpoint, Nathan courageously informs the soldiers that the people he is with are not his parents. The soldiers immediately detain the kidnappers and Nathan is escorted inside the base. When Ally arrives shortly after, she frantically searches for him, checking from one medical unit to another. Eventually, she finds him, and a nurse reassures her that Nathan has received his insulin. The nurse offers to help Ally find transportation to her father's city, and she also helps her stock up on medical supplies for Nathan. John, meanwhile, breaks into an abandoned house for food and water. While checking the news, he learns the main comet impact is expected in less than 24 hours. Finding a set of car keys in the house, he drives directly to Ally's father's house, where the man is calmly playing cards with friends. He is surprised to see John alone, and despite their obviously strained relationship, John convinces him to work together to find Ally and Nathan. Moments later, after arriving at a gas station close to her father's house, Ally calls her dad to pick her up. John and the father rush to the station, and the family is finally reunited. Together, they return to the house where they eventually confirm that John's information about the Greenland shelters is accurate. John persuades Ally to attempt the journey to Canada, though her father refuses to leave. As they prepare to depart, a massive fragment of the comet strikes nearby, forcing them to decide to leave immediately. However, before parting, Ally's father gives John a gun for protection as he says his goodbyes, but stays behind. With little time to spare, John, Ally, and Nathan set off on the dangerous journey to Canada, leaving behind loved ones and the world they once knew, determined to reach the shelters and secure their survival. During their drive, John and Ally mend their strained relationship as they vow to remain united as a family. Along the way once more, they encounter a roadblock. However, chaos soon begins when comet debris begins falling around them. In the face of the danger, John veers off the road and weaves through the falling fragments. Ally jumps into the back seat to shield Nathan, while John searches for a safe place to hide. They soon find a bridge where others have taken refuge and drive towards it. However, John sees a man stranded in his car and he rushes to help him get out. With the help of others, he succeeds as they eventually manage to hide. Later that night, they resume their journey and cross into Canada. As they approach their destination, they hear on the radio that the planet-killer fragment of the comet is imminent and that it could destroy more than 75% of life on Earth. They arrive at the airfield, but their urgency grows as they spot planes attempting to take off. Very determined to get his family on one of the planes, John chases after a plane preparing for departure and manages to block its path with his car. Though the pilot is reluctant to accept more passengers due to the plane's full capacity, John persuades him to let the family on board. A demand the pilot reluctantly agreed to. Now inside the aircraft, John dreams about the better days from their past. When he wakes, they were nearing their destination, which initially seems untouched by the comet. However, a fragment suddenly strikes the ocean, triggering a massive shockwave that damages the plane. Both engines immediately fail, and the pilot struggles to glide the plane safely. Though the landing is smooth, it collides with a glacier and this traps the pilots inside, injured. When John tries to free them, he is unable to. So, the pilot advised him to save himself and his family instead. After alighting from the plane, they spot a military plane landing about a mile away. So, John leads the passengers across the icy landscape toward it, hoping to find the base. When they finally reach the military aircraft, a truck arrives to transport them to an underground shelter. As they enter the facility, the catastrophic planet-killer fragment strikes Earth. The shelter braces for the impending impact as the blast reverberates, shaking everything in it. Amid the chaos, we see several flashbacks that show moments from John and Ally's happier days before the disaster. Then, everything went blank. 9 months later, we see that Earth is unrecognizable. It is now a desolate wasteland of ruined cities. Meanwhile, we hear a radio signal scanning for survivors, and it also confirms that the dust has settled and that there's no more radiation left. At the end, the shelter's hatches open to reveal that the family and others have survived the catastrophe. A bird, symbolizing hope, flies above the wreckage, and this gives them hope that there is still life on the planet. Then, from space, we see Earth's surface showing signs of life as radio transmissions further confirm that there are survivors scattered across the globe. And they are ready to rebuild. Thanks for watching. If you liked this recap, please subscribe to the channel and also like this video. Until next time.